Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I've just been told in the comments section that my voice is quite naive, so I'm going to try to sound super assertive, like, right, so pawn to e4 it. No, it sounds quite nice though. If I've got a naive voice, maybe it's like, well, I guess I have to be naive, don't I? Like, there's so many GMs on YouTube, I can't really act like I know better than them. It's just hopefully, I started this channel to try and form a bridge between that really high level that you see on YouTube and like a lot of the beginners out there. I'm sort of in the middle, you know? Sure. Today I'm going to be analysing 5 games from some of my favourite subscribers. Not that I have favourites, guys, but, you know, they do support the channel well, so I really appreciate that from them. So I'm going to be analysing their games, and we're going to learn how to improve. These are like 12 to 1500 players mainly. So here we get a pretty normal position. Here most people go for the open Sicilian, but this is playable. Generally they advise not to play this bishop move out against the Sicilian, but it is a book move, it is fine. And already we're seeing, is this bishop going to get hit? Which, bear this in mind later in the game, guys. So now, knight develops, it's all fine. And then this move, as you can you see that bar there? Yeah. We lose a little bit of advantage for white. And you should recognize this position as a potential weakness, subject to pawn forks, especially if the pawn can advance with tempo, for example, against the bishop here. And you can see it coming, can't you, guys? There's just a pawn fork. So in these positions, when I do develop my knight here, my bishop here, I'm hyper aware of, can I play this pawn move to stop that coming in, and can I slide the bishop back, give the bishop some breathing room here, especially when they're like advancing the pawns up the board. Got to be like just hyper aware of that coming out the opening. So yeah, black punishes white out the opening, but white has these 2 nice bishops now looking across the board. White goes for this trade, which is okay. And now black threatening to really clamp on this bishop, but if here, it's okay. So now white going for a massive expansion on the king side, guys, which we should recognize is very, very dangerous. Like, if you've played the queen here first, like maybe that first, and then go for this, because at least there you've got the option of castling. But just going straight for this is dodgy, guys. And then trading the key piece that was holding this whole structure together. And now, yeah, white does get a lovely, it looks like a good move, but black actually just comes in with check here. And then after king is dislodged, can never castle, black can just move the bishop away. But actually, this line is still fine for black, because you win 2 pawns, get the check, and then another pawn. So 3 pawns for the bishop, and you're hitting the rook, threatening to win the other rook. And this is quickly falling apart for white. So white castles to defend the rook, trying to regroup. Black pivots back with check, which is probably fine. Was there any need to take here? Could black not have looked to bring another piece, maybe? What about something like that? Would that have been okay? Let's see what the engine says here. I want to know. This queen trade's good because black's winning and looking to simplify. Yeah, it's saying just take it. Just simplify the position. But if you did want to keep the attack going, you should always look to bring other pieces into the attack. So now black is just in cleanup mode. And yeah, I don't think there's much more to be said for this one, guys. White is just getting destroyed. So here we have us and Karap against Yo What's Up. What's up? And then, so we get e4, e5. This is a funny little move here. Wow. Looking to maybe fianchetto against your own pawn. It looks a bit weird. I guess so, because white has now blocked their bishop in this way. So sort of funny development from white here. I guess if takes... Yeah, and I think maybe black was better off pushing here to make this... Because if you push, you lock this pawn in, and therefore you lock this bishop in long term. So maybe that was good. That's what I'd be thinking, like strategically long term. But so let's see what happened. We get an early queen trade. Okay, nice. So black comes in with check, but they should realize that white is going to push them back with the pawn. And after this, maybe again here, not probably not as good as it first looks. And now this looks like a cute move, playing off the fact that this pawn cannot take because it's pinned. But it can still take the bishop, right? You know? So white doesn't take the bishop for some reason. And then black. Guys, if you take one thing from this video, please, if you have two pieces hanging, don't bring another piece to hang. Because you've got to see that can a pawn block here? The pawn can block. Now you've just got three pieces hanging because you've tried to go for this big attack early on. And it's just a little bit premature. So white wins that piece. And now white does a great job here. Trying to get the trade, gets the trade. Black trying to keep some momentum, continue with the attack. And then there's a gorgeous move here, guys. This is gorgeous. Hitting that, hitting this, hitting that, trying to get the trades on the board. Why does white want to trade, you say? Because white is behind in development and winning. So if they can remove black's pieces, they're just going to win the end game. Sorry, my voice is going a bit. And then this move, this was my favorite move of the game. Taking the pawn, forking the rook and knight, forcing the trade, hitting the rook, threatening this, and that just solidifies the win, I think, for white. Why is this such a bad move? Because of this, pinning the knight to the king. So that's an alignment issue, guys. Alignment issue on the f-file. Nice little counter-attacking move there from white, but yeah, it's not working long term. So now black wins the piece, and now it's a bit drawish, is it? Oh, so if here black was winning, but now it's just trades, and now basically at this point it's whoever gets the most active king wins. At this level, anyway. Grandmasters would draw this every time, but these are 1400s playing, so. And then they agree to a draw. It ends peacefully. Okay. So, what do we get here? We've got Yoasap against Yudlande. Sorry for the pronunciation. Okay, so white gets two advanced pawns in the center, which I like straight up. And I hate this, guys. Why? Because if the bishop comes, this is looking to fianchetto the bishop, right? Create a little sniper tower for the bishop to sit. But what's this bishop looking at? It's looking at a wall of pawns. I think black has to look to leave this pawn here in order to play this move, because this pawn on a g7 is important in reinforcing this move in order to break and try and chip away at the impenetrable white center. So yeah, hate this move, hate this idea of fianchettoing against the wall. White develops. White trying to take some space as well. It's a pretty close position, but things open up with the trade of the rooks. So this pawn was hanging for a second there, but black doesn't notice. Do you want to take that? I guess this is hitting this. Maybe you could have reinforced the pawn. But yeah, I think taking's fine. I like this move from white, just reinforcing these two pawns in the center, stopping black expanding anymore. And now we're still in quite a close position. White goes for this queen trade. Sorry, I don't know why my computer's lagging slightly. And then black wins this pawn, and this is pretty drawish, I'd say. The engine thinks so too. So what do we get here? A few more trade of pawns. I like this move from black, putting the rook here, saying that if white takes, you're going to correct my pawn structure. And white does so. Now, I really like this move from white. Hitting the base of the pawn chain, for one. And two, stopping the expansion of this passed pawn. Blockading it. So bishop defends. And then there was just some shuffling around at the end, which I'm not going to cover. So next we have OK Chess Player, who's been asking me to review these games for like months now. So sorry I've not got to it yet. Hope you enjoy. So what we get, this is a pretty normal-ish, like Ruy Lopez position. Oh, 4 knights. That's pretty similar position. So first mistake comes, black should not have taken the knight because it leads to this pawn being here and hitting the pinned piece. It's all about understanding that this knight is pinned and you do not want a pawn to ever get to this square and hit it. And this just allows white to hit this knight. Now it's a cool idea from black, counter-attacking. But I think white, this knight is still going to be pinned at the end of it, so white can just move this, I think. White takes, which I think is fine. Black moves the king for some reason, which achieves nothing. Because even if white was going to take with the bishop, you'd take with the pawn, so I don't know what that does at all. So this move, yeah, you're trading off the pawn, but it does activate the black bishop. Maybe better to move this. Let's see what the engine says there. So whose move is it? Is that better? Oh wow, so the engine's a savage, saying ignore the hit on the knight because it's going to be irrelevant in light of this pawn being pinned. Savage. So anyway, the game continues. White does get the knight out of danger. Black attacks it with the king. I'm not sure if that's the best move. And then look at this, guys, from white. Can I just give a little round of applause? White is a 700 player, right? Sacrificing the knight, knowing that if pawn takes, they get this absolutely savage skewer on the king and queen. So congratulations to OK Chess Player there. And let's move on to the final game. Hope you're learning some stuff, guys. We get a d4, d5. Normalish development. Nice. Got the bishop out, pull it back. Okay. I quite like that, pinning the knight, so this has less of an effect on this square now. So defending. Okay, check comes in. It's getting complicated, guys. So maybe queen here, I think, is the best move. Just trying to stop black from ever castling. But white comes back, which does have pressure on this pawn. So after takes, this pawn is vulnerable, and this is what white missed. White just takes, and it's sort of neutral. Whereas if white had come in with the queen, I looked at this line before, it's quite lovely. So black moves the king, and now white at the end of this. Oh no, so black kicks the queen out. Then we get a trade of queens. And yeah, it just wins the pawn and dislodges the king. Maybe not as good as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, so anyway, the game continued. So white castle, white's king's just looking much safer. White just gets the rook out of danger there. Carries on developing. White, nice, hit the queen. So black goes for a queen trade, but it's a really odd queen trade because if white takes, then it damages your structure. It's just not something you want to do. You want to try and induce trades that improve your structure when a pawn recaptures. So black's structure is awful for the endgame here. So I want to see black trying to generate some play here and not trade down because this endgame is going to be losing, I think. Now this is an interesting one, guys, because this looks like a fork. But actually it's not, because black just takes the rook. And if you take, then they take your other rook, you know. So it's not a true fork. But black loses their mind here and just sacrifices a rook for no reason, and it doesn't change the position whatsoever. It's just a free rook completely. And oh yeah, and then yeah, I guess you win the exchange, but it's sort of meaningless at this point. And then just a beautiful checkmate from white at the end there. So 2 lovely games from OK Chess Player at the end. Yeah, so I hope that helps you all, guys. Some cool games there. And yeah, hopefully that I'll try and keep putting this content out for my subscribers. I really appreciate all your support. And yeah, like and subscribe. See you next time. Cheers.